Hi, welcome back to my channel, According to Kat. If you are new here, please introduce yourself in the comments below. If you're returning, just say hi. If you'd like to see what I'm about to make, stay tuned. Okay everyone, we are going to be doing some of my favorite Easter DIYs, and here you can see my Easter egg tree along with this wreath that I had on my front door last year, and last but not least, this bunny block. Whimsical DIY decor. So if you want to learn how to make them, stay tuned. If you'd like to know what supplies I've used, please check out the description box below. And with all that being said, let's get right into the video. Okay, DIY number 1, Easter egg topiary. I took this foam cone from the Dollar Tree along with these eggs on picks from the Dollar Tree, and they were on sale for 50 cents each, so it was like a win. And then I took some of this moss from the Dollar Tree, my hot glue gun, and I will just take off the eggs from the actual pick, and I am going to just hot glue those in place. I'm going to start with the large eggs, and then I will just fill in around it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just take out all of those picks and put these eggs back in a bag because they were just rolling everywhere. The hot glue was able to hold them in place, and I kind of like turned them haphazard as I glued them on. I just kind of put them all over the cone. When I am done with this, I realized I did not have enough eggs to fill up the entire cone, so I decided to rip some of them off and disperse them equally, and that seemed to help. And they did have those smaller eggs that kind of matched, that had that coating on it, and I couldn't believe how great this was going to look all together. So I'm taking that moss and some just regular hot glue, putting it right between those eggs and just filling it in with that moss. Be careful because that hot glue is really hot and that moss is no protector, believe me. So I'm just kind of going around and just filling all that in. I will tell you, I absolutely love the end result of this, and it looked really expensive. For using such inexpensive products, it really was pretty. So I took the green and the pink type coating ones, and I'm just taking a bit of hot glue, putting it right there on the egg, and then gluing that egg right onto that moss in between the larger eggs. You don't need to use the little ones. You could have just used the big ones. Like I say, use what you have. I decided I wanted something around it, like to kind of like put it all together. This was not working out. I had this from Hobby Lobby. It's kind of like a garland string. No. So I decided to take some really thin branches that I could manipulate, and I started just wrapping them around the topiary, but I kind of made it stick out a little bit, and you can see what I'm doing here. Do you see how it sticks out from the topiary a bit? I loved how it gave it a very woodsy effect, and that kind of pulled the whole thing together. So I just was so pleased that I was able to find these really thin twigs and just kind of wrap them around and added another dimension to the topiary. This is one of my favorite Easter DIYs I've ever done, just because it just is so pretty in person, and I just love them. My daughter loved those eggs too. She started playing with them with her dolls because they are very pretty. And that's it. I just went around and kind of dispersed those equally, and there you go. That is all I did. I then took this up to my mantle above my fireplace, and oh, I thought I was going to put that on there, but no. No. And no. I thought I was going to put a base with it, and then I didn't like the base. This is another way you could do it. Just put it in a basket with some of that grass, that Easter grass. It looked really pretty. It did. This was a basket from a like a Goodwill, and I took a little bunny from the, I don't know if that was from the Dollar Tree or Dollar Zone, that little bunny. I just was kind of coming up with some different ideas on how to display it, but you know what? I feel like that took away from the actual topiary and how pretty it was. So yeah, I'm right here. I'm putting a little string around the bunny's neck to give it more of a rustic effect. It is cute. It is cute. But when I displayed it for real, I didn't need any of that other stuff because I felt it was its own piece and it did not need all that extra. I did put the bunny next to it, but I love how this looked on my mantle, and yeah, it would have been cool if I made 3 of these. I really did like this. Okay, let's move on to the next one. DIY number 2, Easter egg wreath. I got these foam Easter eggs, and there's 10 in the bag. I got this foam, floral foam, some paints from Michael's, a large supply of paints, 16 acrylic colors. And I'm going to take a few of these. I don't think I took all 10. Yeah, I think I did take all 10. And I'm going to put them on skewers and put them right inside of that floral foam so I have it easier to paint. So I'm taking mostly the very muted colors, and I went around and just gave these all a coat in pink, blue, green, and yellow. Now I want to make some speckles on them, so I take this paint marker, and it's a gold, it's like a metallic gold, and I'm just literally flicking on some dots. You could do it with paint and toothbrush and just kind of flick it on, but I didn't want that going everywhere, and this gave me the same effect. So I was fine with that. So the next thing I did was I decided I wanted them a little more muted. So I took some Waverly chalk paint in white and I gave them a coating because I didn't want them as bright as they were. Even though I used pastel colors, once I gave them the 2 coats of paint, they dried darker than I thought they would, so I coated them in a white. I took this amaranthus from the Dollar Tree. I love these because I just think they're just fun and pretty, and yeah, so I took it in pink, and that's what I'm going to put on the outside of that willow wreath from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just cutting these off, those berries. Are they berries or flowers? No, they're flowers, right? Those are flowers. Amaranthus, they're flowers. They look like little beads of berries, but they're not. So some greenery that were on that pick, I just kind of glued around the bottom half of the wreath. I didn't want the greenery all over it. I just kind of wanted it starting at the bottom and going up towards the top. And now I'm taking those eggs and I am going to hot glue them and just kind of place them in different directions going up the wreath. Now I'm taking the amaranthus and I will take some hot glue and I will kind of stick them right in between those willow branches and kind of stick them out from the inside, you know, going toward the inside and the outside. I like them coming off of the wreath like haphazard like that. I really like the way that looks. I used haphazard twice in this video. I don't think that's a word we use very much. And I'm using it. Okay, so I loved how that looked. I loved how they were coming off of the willow wreath, and it just looks very natural and organic. I like how that looks. So I'm like, okay, should I wrap something around this and give it that effect? And then I was like, no. Then I wanted to see, what if I took some bows and I put them on each of the eggs? And then I was like, no. You know, my brain works like this. As I'm crafting, I try to figure out the best ways to get the look I want, because I wanted it to look more woodsy. So again, I go back with those really thin branches from my tree outside, and I just kind of stick them in the between those willow branches of the wreath, and I think that is exactly what it needed, because it gave it, just like I said, that more woodsy look that I was going for. The eggs in the video look very white pasty, but in real life they were not that white. They did have more of a pastel effect. I took this ribbon from the Dollar Tree. No, it's not from the Dollar Tree. I lied. That's from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to make a simple bow. It has no wire in it. This bow is, this ribbon is very plain and silky. So I'm taking two tubes. I want to say tubes because I'm just wrapping them, gluing them together. And then I'm folding it, taking some string, wrapping it around, double knotting it, and here you have a double bow. Super easy. You could see what I was doing. I'm not the best bow maker, so there are a lot of other tutorials if you want to watch those. I added some hanging ribbon to it and just a little burlap to the back, that burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And that was all. And that gave it more of that, again, woodsy effect that I wanted. Hot glued that in place. This was super easy, super quick to make, and really inexpensive. And it looked really cute on my door. I decided at this point that it needed some more amaranthus, so I did have another pick of it, so I went through and added that, and I think it filled it in just a little more, and it gave it what it needed. So here it is on my front door, and I think it is so pretty. I'm glad I toned down those colors because they were a little bright for what I wanted, but here it is. DIY number 3, bunny box decor. First, I took these Dollar Tree plastic terracotta starter pots, 6 count, and I took these acrylic paints from Michael's. I'm sorry I missed some footage here, but I painted these plastic pots with some Waverly chalk paint in white along with some elephant, and I decided they needed a little something, so I went over top of them with some purples and just add some more color to it. These two things are from the Dollar Zone. My Dollar Tree last Easter were out of a lot of things, so I decided to go to Dollar Zone to get what I needed. So here are the amaranthus. These are in yellow. If you can see those little greenery picks that are on there, you only get a few on there. I don't like to decorate with those, but then when I saw them, I thought they really looked like the tops of carrots. So I decided to use those in these pots. I'm taking some hairspray to make sure that glitter doesn't come off. And then I will take this from the Dollar Tree. It is some floral foam. I'm going to put them in each of the pots. You will need 5 of the 6 pots, just so you know. Okay, so now I take those bunnies that are on their picks already, and I'm cutting them down because I didn't want them to sit as high as they were. I took some of my hot glue and I glued each of those foam eggs right onto the bunny's paws and put them right inside of that floral foam. Now I had to figure out a way to get these greenery pieces to stick in, and I couldn't get them to stay. I was trying so many different things. So I ended up taking the cardboard egg holders, and I put a hole in the top of them, and then I took these greenery pieces and put it through the hole, and that made them stand straight up. So that worked out perfectly. You know, I always say to my students, you know, every problem has a solution. It's just finding that solution. So even though I came into a huge problem and I couldn't figure out what I was going to do with these greenery pieces, I figured out a way and it worked. So I think even as adults, we need to remember that even though we're going to run into problems, there's just finding that solution for whatever it is that we need to find. So I'm taking some of this moss from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap it around that bunny and that greenery, which is supposed to be, air quotes, my carrot tops. Then I'm taking some raffia string, and I'm putting it right around the terracotta pots. Now remember, those are plastic. And when I say plastic, I mean thin plastic. They're like the starter pot plastic, not like a thick plastic. But I like that you got 6 in a pack, so I didn't need to buy more than 1 to do this project. So I wrapped it around twice, and then I tied it in a little knot, and that is going to give it, I don't know, that little rustic look that I love. That rustic farmhouse look. And look how cute that is. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with those in a minute. My kids really liked this DIY because, again, it was very whimsical, and they liked seeing this up in our living room last Easter. All right, so the next thing I did was I took some string. No, that's not string. What is that called? Not raffia. Oh, jute. Thank you, jute. No one told me that, was just in my head. I took some green jute and I tied a little bow and I just hot glued that in place on the neck of each of the bunnies. And now I'm just taking this cardboard box. I don't even know where we got this, but it was so like heavy duty and it just really was solid that I wanted to do something with it. This is wood grain. Again, now I can't think of my words. Once I can't think of one word, then I can't think of any words. This is self-adhesive shelf liner. I actually stopped recording and looked it up. It's bad. I can't. Anyway, so I just laid this on top and it is sticky enough that it will stick to the cardboard, and I just kind of cut it how it would sit on there nicely. I cut out those notches so that it could come down along the sides of that box, and I just laid it on and I just smoothed out any ridges or creases. This helped out a little bit. This is from the Dollar Tree. I use this tool for a lot. It really does a good job. Don't worry about anything there if it doesn't look great where it meets up in those corners, because we will cover that up. And it really looked, when I was done with this, I do lighten up that shine effect. When I was done with this, it kind of did look like a wood block from far away. So I am taking my Waverly chalk paint in mineral, and I wanted to do this because there was a shine to that shelf liner and I didn't want it to have that shine. So I put this on, and then what I did was I went back and tried to wipe some of it off, and yeah, it gave me the effect that I wanted. These are like baby wipes. I love to have baby wipes in my craft area because I use them for a lot. So it gave it like a barn wood type effect. And then I went back with some Waverly chalk paint in white. And I really loved how this turned out in the end. So you can see it there. And I'm just taking some hot glue and I am putting not too much on because these are very thin plastic, those pots, and I didn't want it to burn a hole through it. I'm taking some decorative nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. And right there, I'm kind of taking the hot glue to make sure it doesn't unravel. And I'm going to put it right around the edges of that box so you don't see any of those creases where they meet up. And just wrap it all the way around with some hot glue. Along all the edges, around the top, down the side, and along the bottom. So I like how that kind of finished the edge there, but I realized I needed some handles. So I just took a little bit off and I made 2 handles the same size. And then what I'm going to do is take some jute, wrap it around the ends to give it more of a finished look. And there's one of my handles. I'm going to glue that right onto the 2 edges. Please don't use these handles to pick the entire thing up. Even though this piece is really light, those handles are more for decorative purposes rather than being used to carry it around. This is a Fisker's press, and I love this because it makes little tags. You don't need to use this. It was just something I had and I thought it would be fun to use, and I just used some heavier paper. I took my oil-based Sharpie marker, and I'm going to be spelling out the word Hoppy, H-O-P-P-Y, and I will take each of those tags and put them right behind that raffia ribbon on each of those pots. So because I have 5 pots, I have enough for Hoppy, and then I will take Easter on a little wooden stick, and I will write that and put it right there on the block of faux wood. So here's a piece of burlap, and I didn't want the edges to fray, so I'm just taking some regular school glue and I'm just rubbing that in, and once that dries, it hardens and it doesn't come apart. So I just took a little hot glue to kind of adhere it to the faux wood block, and just using a Sharpie, just kind of like make sure it's stuck in. I'm adding my tags. And here I have these very thick popsicle sticks. It's the extra large ones, and I used an old scissor. I don't use my good scissors to cut like thick products like this, but I use my old ones, and I'm just taking some paint to make, I'm taking white, a little black to make some gray. I take some white to put on top. I'm going to give it more of that, you know, barnwood effect. Wait till that dries, and there you go. I have a little piece of wood. So first I'm going to practice. I printed those out. I'm practicing to write Easter with my Sharpie. I did one coat. I waited for that to dry, and then I'm going back on top because it wasn't dark enough. I just took my time and just copied what I saw. There are other ways to get the same effect, but I like to do it freehand. I always feel like it does better than when I try to adhere something to it. And then I'm just going to take it and hot glue it on, and there you go. And here's the finished product. This is up in my living room, and like I said, my kids really liked it. I kind of moved the bunnies in every different direction, and I thought this was so cute. Okay, and here is the final reveal of all of my favorite Easter DIYs from 2019. This is when I first started YouTube, so I didn't have many views on these, and I wanted to share them with you because I thought they were so cute. There's the topiary, here's my Easter wreath, and last but not least is the bunny block. I loved all three of these, but if I had to pick my favorite, definitely going with that topiary. It is so pretty, and in person it's even prettier. So tell me in the comments below which one's your favorite, and I hope you guys are hanging in there. Thanks for watching. So that's it, that's the end of my video. I hope you liked everything you saw here today, and I hope it inspires you to make something of your own. If you've not checked me out at Instagram over at Catluna Designs, I invite you to do so. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see. Consider subscribing, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye! These and I have some really wow, I did that in like one take, and we're done.